They taste better than they look, I will say that much. You can decorate them if you like. I haven't, because I haven't. I tend to keep these in a tin, and they're just great for a little snack or to put in a packed lunch or that sort of thing. Nice, simple recipe, great to get you started if you want to get into baking and you're not really sure what to try out. This one has a pretty good success rate, providing you keep an eye on things. So let's get on with it then, enough of me talking.
For this recipe you will need 8 ounces or 226 grams of self-raising flour, 4 ounces or 113 grams of caster sugar sifted, 4 ounces or 113 grams of unsalted butter at room temperature, 2 medium free-range eggs, and about half a jar or 6 ounces, 170 grams of raspberry jam. You'll also want a teaspoon of vanilla extract. To begin, sift your caster sugar into the mixing bowl. This will just get rid of any little lumps that might be in there. It's always worth sifting your ingredients. Then you want to add your butter. It's important it's at room temperature because this will make this step of the process easier. If it's a little bit hard and you're in a rush, you can microwave it for a couple of seconds. Mix your sugar and your butter together, this is called creaming, and keep going until it's nice and smooth. It's always going to be ever so slightly gritty because of the caster sugar that's in there, but you'll find that the texture changes from how it looks at the moment to a very smooth sort of paste. So as long as everything's nice and even and the colour is nice and consistent, you should be good. Then you want to add your eggs, one at a time. You can crack the eggs into a separate container and then put in the bowl if you prefer. I'm fairly confident, so I crack it on the edge of the bowl. Mix this with your creamed butter and sugar until it goes nice and smooth. It can take a little while to get that first one going, but you'll feel the batter start to loosen up. Once it's all mixed in, add your second egg. And it's the same process again. You just keep mixing it in until everything's a nice, even consistency. You don't want to be introducing bubbles or trying to froth this up or anything like that. And you can use an electric mixer if you prefer. I'm just using a wooden spoon because that's what I have. Now you need to do your flour. It is very important that you sift your flour for this one. You don't want lumpy batter. Do it in thirds. You don't have to be mega precise, just as long as it's roughly thirds. If you try and mix more than a third in at one go, you tend to find that the batter stiffens up too quickly and it's actually quite difficult to mix. Go fairly slowly to begin with, otherwise you'll end up with clouds of flour everywhere. And obviously, because I'm working with flour, I've put a black shirt on. I always do that. Once your flour is fairly evenly mixed in, sift your next third into the mix. If you tap the sieve against your hand like that, it controls where the flour goes and means that you can keep a much tidier workspace. As before, mix this in steadily and eventually you'll find that the batter gets stiffer, the colour will even out. Once everything's nice and even and smooth, put the last of your flour in and mix that in as you have before. You might find the batter is getting quite stiff at this point when you get the last of the flour in. Don't be tempted to add water or milk at this point. Now you want to put in a teaspoon of vanilla extract. This really lifts all of the other flavours that you have in the sponge and helps combine everything together. You notice the vanilla extract more when it's not there than when it is there. Now just add all of the jam. You don't want to mix this thing quite as thoroughly as your previous ingredients. You just want to get it so there are no obvious big blobs of jam. If you end up with a slightly marbled looking batter, that's fine. At this point, if you find that the batter is still a little bit too stiff and hard to stir, add just a little bit of milk or water. With your batter ready, it's time to prepare the bun tins. I'm just using some old bun tins I've had for years and years and some paper bun cases. This cuts down on your cleanup massively later on because it contains all of the batter and the trays only really need a quick wash. There's no need to scrub things. You should get 2 dozen or 24 out of this batter mix. Using a teaspoon, you want it heaped, and as you can see, I just use my finger to spludge it into the cake tin. If you've got not quite enough batter in one, you can go back and put a little bit more in. This is not an exact science. Just do it until they look about right. I'm just going through and topping up some of the ones that looked a little bit low. Next, set your oven. Mine is in Celsius, it's not fan assisted. Do check the temperatures on your own oven to make sure you've got the right temperature. My oven's also very small, so I have to put my trays in one above the other. If your oven's big enough, it's best to put your 2 trays in side by side, or front and back, depending on the shape of your oven. Set your timer for 15 minutes. They don't take very long to cook at all. If you've had to stack your trays, do come back and check them after about 7 to 10 minutes. You don't want them to burn, and if they need turning round, then do. When the timer goes off, you can pull them out. They go a little bit darker than you might expect because of the jam. The sugar in the jam just caramelizes a little bit. However, this gives the tops a nice crunchy texture, which goes quite well with the softness of the sponge inside. And then simply enjoy however you want to. I like mine with a cup of tea. These work equally well with a cup of coffee, and you can use different kinds of jam. Have a go with these, and when you're confident with them, have an experiment. And please do remember to subscribe, leave a like if you've enjoyed the content, and let me know how you got on with this.